Hello, this is Philip and welcome to my channel for this new episode of kOS. Today I'll show you how to improve your gravity turn script to trigger automatic staging. I have built here a new rockets with different stages. Okay, so if I want to put that rocket in orbit, during my gravity turn I need to do some staging, and I want kOS to do that for me at the right moment. In my payload here is only some fuel tanks, and there is about 5.5 tons of payload here in my fairing. All those tanks are full, but I have deactivated the fuel delivery. Okay, so the fuel on those tanks is not used by my engines. And the question is how to change the gravity turn script we wrote the last episode to do that automatic staging. Before that, I want to improve a little my script here. First, for that rocket, I want here the number 40. Here the TWR of my rocket is 1.35. I like to burn both my boosters and my main engine at the same time. So the main engine, the thrust limiter of my main engine is 100%, but the thrust limiter of my boosters is 71%. So the TWR is not too high, is 1.35. I like to have a TWR between 1.3, 1.4. 1.4 is very a maximum. Okay, and the delta V of my craft in vacuum is 3315. That's for my rockets. So here I just need 40 meters per second to start my gravity turn, and we saw at the end of the last episode that there was a problem here with those things. One way to change that is to write this. So I can wait until ship altitude is greater than 36,000 or ship orbit apoapsis greater than 100 kilometers. Doing that, if my apoapsis is reached before that condition, then kOS will do all that instructions in one time. For example, if I am 25 kilometers high, but my apoapsis is already 100 kilometers, so the rocket will steer to prograde, to the orbit prograde, and then kOS will continue to that line, but because that condition is already true, kOS automatically locks throttle to 0 and end of GT, even if the altitude of my ship is less than 36 kilometers. It is not ideal as a situation. It's not an ideal situation. It's better to get your apoapsis after you reach the 36 kilometers, because if you are below the 36 kilometers, that means that you are still in the very thick atmosphere, and your apoapsis will decrease because of the effect of the atmosphere. Okay, so this is one way to do that, but there is another way, and the other way is a trigger when then, and I can write it at the beginning of my script. For example, here I can say, okay, when the ship altitude of my ship altitude is 36 kilometers, then, okay, that is why you call that trigger when then. When the ship's altitude is greater than 36 kilometers, then do something. And what I want to do is that. Up. Okay, and no, sorry, it's not that, it's that. Okay, better. So, you know that kOS reads your script from top to bottom. But there is an exception with that when then. The when then trigger is a way to break that that reading of kOS. When kOS reaches a when then instruction, it keeps those instructions in mind. It doesn't have a mind, but meaning that each physics tick kOS will test that condition. That means a very important thing, that the when then trigger is consuming a lot of memory, because each physics tick kOS has to check this condition, and once this condition is true, then kOS stops everything it's doing and it reads that instruction, and then it continues where it stopped. Okay, so for example, I'm in that part of the script, and then the ship's altitude is greater than 36 kilometers, so the kOS stops reading the script and it goes to that instructions, and when those instructions are finished, it continues the script from here. The lock steering is still effective, it's still activated, because the lock steering keeps it's the purpose of the lock. Okay, so the steering is still surface prograde until that when then instruction is activated. So I can do this for a when then altitude, and I can do this for the ship orbit. I can do, okay, when ship orbit apoapsis is greater than 100 kilometers, then you can do this. You mustn't abuse of that when then instruction. You can have 2, 3, maybe 5 instructions going at the same time, but you don't want to have too many when then instructions, because those conditions are checked every physics tick. So it could be a problem if there is too much conditions, if there are too much conditions to check. Okay, and this when then, it is what we are going to use for staging. Okay, so here I can write that at the beginning of my script, because at the beginning of the script my craft is at the launch pad, so those conditions are not those conditions are false, so I can write this here. For the staging, I prefer to write that just before my liftoff. Okay, because what I want to say here is it's a little difficult to explain. You have here the thrust of your engine. When the thrust is equal to 0, when the max thrust is equal to 0, that means that your engine is out of fuel. It cannot work anymore. It cannot be ignited anymore. So you can check for the max thrust to do your staging. So for example, here you can say when ship max thrust, okay, you have here the max thrust, equals 0, then here you can wait until stage ready, and you can stage. and you can also, if you want, print staging. Okay. Then you can, for example, wait for the next physics tick. We'll do the same here. It's just a precaution. Normally that condition is checked only once per physics tick, but for precaution I can do that. Okay, but there is one thing that differs from that instructions. When the altitude of my ship is greater than 36 kilometers, I want to do that, and I want to do that only one time. And this is the same here. When the upper axis is greater than 100 kilometers, I want to do that, and I want to do that one time. But for my staging, it's different. I want the staging to be triggered each time it must be triggered. Okay, so for this, I can say set preserve to true, and preserve is a global word, it's a boolean, and you can write directly preserve. That means that when that instruction is triggered, kOS will execute that script and it will preserve the when then instruction. That means that this when then instructions keeps running to run during all your script. That is not true for that. Once your ship is above, your upper axis is above 100 kilometers, that those instructions are executed one time, and then kOS deletes that instruction from its memory. Okay, so you want to use that preserve to your staging. You can write an if condition. For example, if stage number equals 1 or greater than 1, preserve. So here, for example, let's imagine you have the staging, and then in your here in your payload you have another engine and maybe some parachutes. So you want the staging to be activated during your gravity turn, but not after that. You don't want an automatic staging after you complete your orbit. For this, you can say to kOS, okay, if the stage number is greater than maybe, I don't know, 3, then preserve that instructions. And as soon as your stage number is equal to 3 or less to 3, then you don't execute that preserve instruction, so the when then trigger will be deleted. Okay, so here I can just write preserve, and that's it. That means that kOS will read your script from top to bottom. It will skip for now the when then instruction, and it continues to check the conditions each physics tick to know if it needs to trigger or not the script here. And this is it. Okay, we are waiting for 40 meters per second. Okay, kOS is very slow to start to tilt the rocket, but it's good for me. Okay, the rocket is now following the surface prograde. My last stage has a very low TWR. That's why my gravity turn will be not so aggressive. Okay, you see, I'm just waiting for the solid fuel. When solid fuel is equal to 0, you'll see what happened. Okay, nothing happens. It's normal. Staging. I have pressed the space bar manually. So in this case, the automatic staging didn't work, and it's normal. Okay, I will explain that to you later. Once the ship reaches 36 kilometers, we're now following the orbit prograde. See? So this is the when-then instruction, the first. Now we are waiting for the absolute going to 100. I think I will stop the test here and explain to you why the stage didn't work. Maybe we can wait until here that now there is only one engine. Once that engine is out of fuel, you will see that the thrust will be equal to 0, and in this case the automatic stage will be executed. See, no problem here. This time I didn't press the spacebar. Okay, so this time the staging was completely automatic. Okay, let's see now why. The problem here is that instruction here. The max thrust is equal to 0. This is a problem because I like to use my boosters at the same time that my main engine. And when you do that, your max thrust doesn't reach 0 because when your boosters are out of fuel, the main engine is still I don't have the word, but it's still working. Okay, so the max thrust is not equal to 0, but your max thrust will be less. It will be less than the old max thrust because with your boosters, your two boosters and the main engine, the max thrust is greater than only the thrust with your engine. So the idea here is to say, okay, once my ship has liftoff, I can record the actual thrust of my ship. So I can set a variable, let's call it old thrust, and that variable is equal to ship available thrust. Okay, so set all thrust to that number. And now I want to check if my ship available thrust is less than my old thrust, and to have a little margin of security, I will say less than old thrust minus 10, for example. Okay, so here I can weight the next physics tick, weight 0, and after that kOS will check my actual available thrust and it will compare it to my old thrust. And the thrust is going up. Each time it's going up. But when the two boosters are jettisoned, the new available thrust of my main engine will be less than my first old thrust at the beginning of my liftoff. I don't know if it makes sense for you, but you'll see that works. I just have something to do after that. When I have staging here, I must I must change the old thrust to the new available thrust. Okay, and for that I prefer to weight 0 here. Okay, so I jettison my boosters, so the available thrust will decrease, so it triggers a staging, and then I change my old thrust to the new available thrust. and when my main engine is out of fuel, then the new available thrust will be 0, so it will be less than the old thrust, minus 10. Okay, and this will work. Okay, believe me, this will work. So let's check it out. Starting GT at the 40 meters per second velocity, vertical velocity, following the surface prograde. And no, I didn't do anything manually. That was automatic with kOS. Okay. So you see here, I didn't reach the 45 degrees above the horizon. I'm still at 50 degrees above the horizon, but I am at 20 kilometers here. This is a very high gravity turn. This is not the most efficient gravity turn, but it's very high. The reason of that is because my engine here has a very low TWR, as well as my first stage engine here, the TWR is very low. So now the apoapsis won't increase very quickly. So this is why I needed to do a very high gravity turn because of my low TWR. This rocket is not a very pretty good rocket. You should build a rocket better than this. I'm looking for the sun, but I think, yes, it is here. So the best light should be right here. Okay, this is not a very good rocket, a very well-built rocket. Okay, it was just to show you how to use different staging. It's a rocket with 2 automatic stagings, and this rocket has been built to show you that. I will use that rocket in the other episodes because I want to show you then how to automatically trigger the fairing, how to open the solar panels, how to open the antennas, and this will be for the next episode. Not really the next episode, but I have some different things to explain to you before reaching the episode of antennas or of solar panels, but I will use the when then instruction to say, okay, when my ship is in space, you can open the fairing, you can deploy the solar panel, you can deploy the antenna. Okay. Our apoapsis is going very slowly, but the periapsis is increasing very high. So our rocket is now at the, not exactly at the horizontal, but it's 2 degrees above the horizon. With the map view, you can look at the map view. It's quite circular. It's quite a circular orbit now, and the script is finished. But you see, you have a very good here. You have only 62 meters per second to finish your orbit, and so it left then 60 meters per second. So this was very short, but I reached the atmosphere. I succeeded my gravity turn. I have triggered all my staging automatically. So now we are in very good way to do a whole mission only with kOS. The only thing there is little things now you must know is how to deploy the fairing automatically, how to deploy the solar panels, how to deploy the antennas, and how to make how to create a maneuver node and how to execute it. Okay, for now I will just execute it manually to finish the video. And thank you for watching, and see you soon for the next episode. Bye bye.